Yeah.
If you go miss field goal, fumble, interception, fumble, they're not only back in the game, they're leading the game at that point.
Yeah.
Because you're giving them opportunities and you're giving them too much life. So this is the situational football that they need to get better at. The coaches and the players got to tug the both ways and get it going because also, the last drive before the first half.
Yeah.
And gave them a chance to come get, it's been,
I was going to say that's a pattern.
It's been six games in a row now.
Yep.
There is no,
that's a pattern.
This is a situation. No, this is something that needs to be addressed before we start to get later in the game. And all the things that we're talking about are, I guess, is a negative, but they're fixable, right? That's the great thing. And that's probably the most frustrating thing. Penalties. Situational football, both coaching and players, finishing out games strong, just doing what you need to do. Don't clock watch. I think this team clock watches. I think they try to smoke screen you and say, "Oh, we don't want to make a mistake." No, you're clock watching. You want to get, you kind of want to get a lead and close home. No, what Matt Rhule was talking about weeks ago is we want to finish strong.
Yeah,
that's what he's talking about. Finishing strong, finishing a game. The right way is finishing strong.
The specific quote from Matt Rhule was, "We don't want to play our best football in the first quarter. We want to play it in the fourth quarter."
Right.
They want to play their best brand of football in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And it was somewhat the opposite tonight.
Right. And they were lucky enough the defense stepped up multiple times and obviously closed out the game. Illinois wasn't very explosive, wasn't very innovative on offense. So Nebraska did some good enough things in the run game to kind of keep them off schedule. But ultimately what has to happen is, you celebrate this win, right? You don't take anything away from them.
Exactly.
Because going on the road, and again, watching this game, we would be lying to everybody if we're saying, hey, this is the Illinois team of last year, and this is a huge victory that, we upset Ohio State or something. But in reality, when you're 0-2 in the Big Ten, where Nebraska was, and same with Illinois. And Illinois it was more on life alert and lifeline than us because they got a harder schedule coming down the pipe. Whereas where we needed this to validate what we've done in the first 4 games versus what we did in the 5th game. Also to go into the bye week with some confidence, and also with the understanding, which is probably the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, the most important thing, obviously, before the game kicked off is do anything and everything to win the game by 1 point. They did that, obviously, winning by 13. Now you've done that. We'll celebrate that. But this isn't a week off. This is not vacation. This is not the time for you to go and this is not the time for you to go, back home, end up on the beach somewhere, or, you're tweeting. No. This is just so happens you don't have a game this weekend. So what this week is to get better. This week is to get better, even at the things that you did well. Get right even from the quarterback position when you're running the option. Heinrich Haarberg gets to get better at that because that's something that Nebraska's going to probably run some more, right? So decision making and be more decisive with it. You got to put more pressure on the outside defender. Okay, that's one thing. Passing accuracy and fundamentals. That goes without saying. It goes without saying. Getting better pass rush. We did a little bit better today, but then also at the beginning of the game, all the runs and plays that Illinois was getting, especially closer to the goal line, was all self-inflicted wounds. There was the one kind of quick screen. Hartsaw got caught inside. The other one, Nash came around. He didn't keep contained. The play calls are right. Let's execute them and make teams beat us. But then they did that. Then you got to address the penalties. And then you got to get guys developed. We've seen Malachi Coleman in there. He was open a couple times. So whether it's Sims or Heinrich Haarberg and Sims, whoever's in there, you got to start to hit the open guys and play pitch and catch. That's all needs to be addressed this week, whether you're in a official practice, which is obviously, I think there's only 3, right? That you're allowed 3 during a bye week, or an unofficial practice at a quarterback position and linebacker position. It's the time to get better.
You guys can chime in on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. Jay Foreman, Nick Sander with you guys here on the Jay Foreman postgame show. Nebraska wins 20-7. Jay, should we kick it off with a phone call?
Yeah, bring it on,
Let's
Zach.
let's
Let's
kick
see
it
what
off.
my man Zach is talking about.
Zach's on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. Zach, what's on your mind, my man?
Zachary.
All right, Zachary. Zach,
yeah, what's up?
there he is.
There he is,
Zach,
ladies and gentlemen.
Zach, what's on your mind, man?
Just got a few things on my mind here after the game tonight, boys. Hey, number one, a win is a win. I love it. Number two, we had some mistakes, but the guys I got to shout out today. Number one, Isaac Gifford just played out of his mind. Number two, the defense in general, just getting stops when we need to, turning the ball over when we need to. Obviously, the offense did not play great, but didn't make mistakes. But we did what we needed to do to win the game. I'm just glad we got the win. All I gotta say is, we're winning the West, baby. Let's go.
There goes Zach.
I was waiting for that, man. Zach sounded a little tuned up, man. So it was all good. I mean, he's right. If the win is a win, celebrate it. And then look, you can't rectify the mistakes right now. Deal with what it took to win on the road at a place that you haven't had success. Last time that they were there, obviously laid an egg, and then obviously Isaac Gifford played well. Look, we talked about it on the pregame show, Nick, and it was like, look, Singleton's down, right? Luke Reimer's not in, so these guys that are playing in different roles, and Isaac Gifford gives you flexibility to still play rover, or you can play post safety. But the guys that got to step up, he stepped up. Phelan Stanford stepped up. Omar Brown Jr. stepped up, made a phenomenal open field tackle and been physical all year. Nick Heinrich is done well. Did well today. He stepped up. And then you saw Princewell, the young freshman, come in and get 2 or 3 pressures. Jamari Butler, guys step up, right? Billy Kemp made some plays. Thomas Fedoni made some plays.
Yeah.
Anthony Grant, even though he wasn't able to get in the rhythm, which I would have liked to seen him get in a rhythm, right? Yeah. Let's just, like we talk about, we wanted to lean on these guys, right? He didn't get consistent carries. You get 2 carries and then you go 2 series without getting it. We talked about it with Amon Green, talked about being in rhythm. A running back in our offense, right, for what we need this year, because we know we got a pretty good quarterback run game. But for Anthony Grant, he's almost like I'm going to make the analogy of a basketball player. Like I remember Hakeem Olajuwon would say this when he'd play against good players. I just need to touch the ball. I might not need a shot. I just need to touch the ball because it gets him in rhythm, gets him into the game. Because Anthony Grant, when he got in a rhythm and he had decent blocking, is going to make things happen. Yes, he had the fumble. Again, that's got to be something that he has to have in his mind, and also the coaches have got to put in his mind. But you also, while you're coaching a player like this, can't overcoach him to where he actually makes mistakes because you're overcoaching him. There is a tricky slope with that, because he's never had fumble problems until this year. So you have to recognize that.
Anthony Grant reminds me a lot of Dedrick Mills.
Exactly.
And not necessarily the runner and the type of running back he is, but the way that he needed to get the football. And remember that the conversation was all season long was that Dedrick Mills just needed to get consistent carries. There were games where you would look at the box score.
It'd be 5 carries.
It'd be 5 carries or it'd be 18, 19, 22, but not consistently. And there was no method to the madness or no rhythm. That's how it feels right now with Anthony Grant. You look at the stat sheet, and if you watch that game, it felt like he was in there a pretty good chunk. He was banged up for a little bit there throughout the ball game. But 20 carries, I think he finished with just under 60 yards. He averaged just a little over 2 yards per carry. It felt like you said, Jay, there just was no rhythm. There was no consistency to Anthony Grant. But maybe that's also because Nebraska, once again, wasn't able to get any push. Other than the quarterback run. And like the traditional running game, there was no method to, I think, any of it, unfortunately, whether you're talking about Emmett Johnson, whether you're talking about Josh Fleeks, who had just 1 carry once again tonight. And then also, if you're talking about Anthony Grant, it just feels like they can't get anything going to where they can line up and say, you know what, we need 2 yards. We can run it with the running back. We're running it with the running back. Try to stop us. You can't.
Yeah, I think, well, obviously, I think Illinois, their front is pretty good, right? I
Well,
mean,
they have Newton. Yes,
they got Newton.
Newton's very good.
They got Randolph. They got Lucas, I think his last name was Jockus. They got number 49. They got some dudes, right? They got some legit Sunday dudes. Now, early in the season, they were playing uninspired and looked lazy, and they probably thought they could really make some hay against Nebraska. But the run plays, I could argue that the design and timing, or you run them, were good. I didn't like the rhythm of the whole offense, really, in general, tonight. Right? I thought it could be better based on I felt like we were so much better than Illinois as far as overall offense versus defense, and you saw it at times when it really looked kind of in rhythm. You get a couple good runs, because when Anthony Grant was in rhythm, they actually got pushed. The zone off the right side, they just blew the whole right side down. You had some good plays. I think Heinrich Harburg missed a couple pitches to where he could have really gone. And plus, we talked about the timing on the options, right? He has to be a little bit better than that on the pitching to get it to him where he can go, like lead him a little bit, right? Or be crisp with his pitches. He puts side spin on his passes, because he throws it so funky, and he also does it when he pitches it. So those are things these are the things these minor details or major details that look minor is what you address day in and day out during your bye week.
It's interesting because we talk about when Nebraska's offense looked like it was somewhat in rhythm, right? And a bulk of that came in the first half.
Yeah.
Right.
Second half looked like a totally different team.
Absolutely. And thankfully Illinois was unable to get anything going on offense, and shout out to Nebraska's defense on that one quite a bit. But in that first half, they force a punt once again on the Illinois side of the field. They get the ball in plus territory. They start they start in good field position in that first half, and they continue getting these momentum plays.
Right.
And whether that's a takeaway, whether that's a turnover, whether that's mistakes that Illinois is making, this team understands, whoa, they're making the mistakes. We aren't.
They look like us.
In the first half.
Then Illinois got a couple in the beginning of the second half, and then they just started giving them to them in the middle part of the second half, and then we turned it back, and it was like hot potato, right?
Yeah.
Who wants to give away the momentum? So really, I think, like, ultimately, again, we're talking about what they can do. The thing that I want to make sure everybody understands is the frustrating part. I'm sure these coaches are frustrated. First of all, they're happy they won, and they should be. It's been a hard week for them, right? You get flat out embarrassed on national TV. Everybody's stressed out, and they should be. And there has to be questions, because it by no means doesn't matter if it's a first-year coach or a 10th-year coach. You shouldn't get smoked 45-0 against Michigan.
Or anybody. I mean,
against anybody, but
no team should be 45 points better than Nebraska.
But in particular, Michigan, right? So now you have to deal with that, and you have to face it on a short week on the road. So now the pressure and anxiety can be ramped up. So they definitely need to enjoy this, and also understand that they made more positive steps in the right way than negative steps. I'll call what they did now as sideways steps, because it's just like lateral stuff, or you keep pulling away from the positive steps. And so I think one of the things, like, let's just, like, right now, how much time do we got before we're in the break?
Well, let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds for station ID. Okay. Let's take Rich's phone call, and then we can dive deeper into it. Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Let's pause 10 seconds here.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
All right, let's go back to the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685, where we got Rich on the line. Rich, appreciate you chiming in. What's on your mind tonight, man? Rich?
Yes, sir.
How are we feeling, man? What's on your mind?
Well, first of all, big ups. Good look on the new studio. Looks nice.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Rich.
Well, here's my big thing. I respect the fact that we're trying to run the ball more. And I'm going to be honest with you, when we made the quarterback switch, I was a little bit apprehensive about it, because he just didn't look as fast on his feet. But I think he's doing really well with that. I think that if we could just figure out a way to mix that up with our Grant and just try to get a little bit more yardage, I think that's good. But when you get into a third and manageable consistently, you're not trying to throw it down the middle and just pick up that easy first down. Between that and the constant offensive line flags. I mean, we could do a little bit better on that, but I think we're on the right track. And in my opinion, I think by next year, I think we'll be able to pick back up. That's just me. But you guys take it. Thank you for answering my phone call.
Appreciate you, Rich. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, he has some legitimate points. I mean, you can't get out of rhythm with your conventional run game and become infatuated with the quarterback game, right? But then also, I think one of the best play calls Marcus Satterfield had was he went, empty set, and it was third and manageable.
I think it was 3rd and 4.
Third and 4.
On the quarterback draw.
Yep. Right. You play right into the skill set of both quarterbacks that they're playing, but in particular one you have playing now, you feel like you have an athlete advantage on whoever would be on him.
I was just going to say, explain to the listeners why 5 wide there is okay. Because I think to the casual football fan, they think 5 wide, you're not having anybody block. Why would you go 5 wide empty set there?
Yeah. Well, number one, you're spreading the defense out horizontally, right? So depending on your splits, guys have to vacate the box in order to cover them if they're in man-to-man defense or cover them if they're in zone. So you're going to be moving out to get to your zone. Because if you just stay in the box, the quarterback could just take it and throw it to him. So what it does is it's almost like a rubber band that you stretch sideways and it gets white, right? So you're stretching the defense horizontally just by formation, 5 wides, whether you motion to it, shift to it, or whatever. But then when you have a quarterback in a, let's say, pistol depth in the formation or shotgun, he can see the coverage a little bit better, right? He doesn't have to do any ball fakes or anything like that. But it was a called quarterback draw. So there's 4 defensive linemen, 5 linemen for us. You figure they can block them, right? And so even if they're pass rushing, now it's up at the Heinrich Harburg to make maybe one guy miss if it's a stacked linebacker. And you like that matchup. And especially if you get a Ben Scott or a guard up on him, you can get 4 yards. We saw it plain as day a few weeks ago at Colorado. Jeff Sims, 57 yards, right? It works. Now you aren't able to have your whole offense be that way, but it could be something that you can go to more readily if Heinrich Harburg shows the ability to pass the ball, right?
Yeah.
And throw it with good depth, with good velocity, with good fundamentals. This could be something that you can go to, because even if you have a empty formation with 5 wides out there, you put a running back there or a tight end on the line of scrimmage, that doesn't change anything as far as the playing quarterback. So it's something I liked from them. I saw in the, when they came out and they tried to run power, and you're right. We just didn't come out with the same intent and intensity in the second half as we did the first half. And you saw that in the lack of push. I felt like we started to wear them out a little bit in the first half. I felt like our rhythm was good. We were making some plays. We got some breaks. We had the momentum, right? We had total control of the game. And the second half, even though we got the ball, we actually were doing decently driving the ball. And then remember, we went from 3rd and 4, I think a 3rd and 4. Then we had a false start to 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
Right. I talk about the cause and effect all the time. Well, now you just change if you think of the thickness of the playbook, you just went from like this, a ton of plays at 3rd and 4. You could go right back to empty set. And if they try to make an adjustment, then you got a hot route. But now you go 3rd and 9. Now you shrink the playbook. And also you're not really playing pitch and catch very well, because you got to think, I don't know what Heinrich Harburg's stats are, but there was like a series of passes that they very easily could have been interceptions, because they were
plenty.
They were either so off mark that Illinois was caught by surprise. They couldn't catch them. So I think eventually caught up to us. But in reality, one of the things I was going to ask you about is okay, we're going into bye week, right? And I want to have this in two segments. Okay, let's talk about the offense. What they did well tonight, and then what they need to do in the bye week, significant, I wouldn't say changes, but they need to get better at some stuff. And changes to me is you go from whatever offense you have now to air raid. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
As far as what I think they did well tonight, especially in the first half, I felt like they tried and were innovative a little bit. The jet sweep to Billy Kemp. I liked some of the new kind of like run plays. They weren't executed the best. I felt like but I think that was the Heinrich Harburg really, first time seeing big bodies that can move, defend the option. I liked some of those plays. And I'll give him credit for some of the deep plays he got. He got the one to Marcus Washington, and then Ty Hahn as well. Not the best thrown balls, but it got the job done. There was a couple passes, that he completed that weren't the best looking things, but he got the job done. He picked up some big third downs with passing, so those are positives for me. But going into the bye week, if there's one thing, I'm just going to give one thing I think they need to do. They need to look at all 6 games and find their rhythm in play calling and playing. Because I think if the play calling kind of gets in rhythm, then I think it forces the offensive line to play in rhythm. You get what I'm saying?
I do. Heinrich Harburg finished this game just completing not real pretty on the stat sheet. 12 of 24 through the air. 100
is that 50%?
50%.
Okay.
154 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. Today on the ground, Heinrich 18 carries, 82 yards and a touchdown, had a long run of 25 yards. He led the Huskers in rushing with Anthony Grant in second with 20 carries and 56 yards today as well. What I would say, Jay, and correct me if I'm wrong here, please. When talking about what they can improve on, and I would believe that this is just through time and experience, the camaraderie between Heinrich Harburg and Anthony Grant. And what I mean by that is it seems like at times it's either not slow developing, that doesn't necessarily, but it feels like there's whether a lot of times on the options, on the pitches, it's whether it's lack of trust between Heinrich and Anthony Grant, lack of belief that Heinrich can make that play, lack of trust that Anthony Grant can make that play. Whatever it is, there's a couple of them. We started seeing it in the second half to where Heinrich was maybe a little more willing to pitch it off to him.
Right.
And I understand some of those are designed quarterback keepers just to kind of get a look and maybe get Heinrich Harburg the run. But it felt like at times like that camaraderie and the chemistry there that I think maybe you can only grow through games and game reps.
Game reps, but you got to get a lot of practice reps. But the biggest thing is, Nick, they have to recognize it. And I would describe it, it looks junky.
Yeah, it looks really just choppy.
Yeah, choppy, junky, not smooth.
Yeah.
Right? And even on some of the run plays, it just does not look smooth. And, whether Heinrich Harburg is their design runs or not, but you're missing out on opportunities. Because if you're making the right reads on these options, right, and RPOs, you're setting yourself up for it to be more efficient and being explosive as a runner and the passer later in the game. And so you have to really take a step back and can't think like, okay, well, I trust myself this, so forth and so on. If Anthony Grant is having fumbling issues to the point, the coaches will pull him out and put somebody else in. It's your job to execute the plays the way you've been taught in practice. But that's one thing that they have to continue to work on every day. The continuity in between, within each other, in the quarterback running back exchange, whether it's a full handoff or a fake, you have to do it because Anthony Grant's a pretty good third down back. He had a couple good blocks today, and he's always done well. So you have to make sure that you're working with him because he's going to have your back more times than not. And so it's just a lack of experience from Heinrich Harburg or playing with Anthony. Anthony has to get a little bit better at some things, but overall the offense and whether you can throw Satterfield in here, not that much. Yes and no. You have to find a rhythm. You have to identify where you're going and how you're going to get there. You got to be 2 or 3 steps ahead. You can't run a play, look out and see how successful it was, and then be like, okay, well, now I need to go through 30 chapters of plays and find one play.
I think there was a question that a conversation we had, I believe, after the Colorado game. And it was basically a general question of, do we think and do we believe that this offensive staff knows what they want to do on offense? And I think we kind of came to this idea, like they have an idea, but they don't necessarily know 100% and are confident in it. Now, a couple weeks later, I'll ask you the same question. Do you believe that this staff 100% without a doubt knows what they want to do in every situation, in every single facet of the game?
Scale 1 to 10, I'd say 8.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they have a couple missing pieces that's not allowing them to do it.
And then that's what the follow-up was going to be. Is it a misfit at certain spots and certain positions?
Misfit, overestimating going into the season, injuries, and then the line has showed spurts of playing well, then spurts of kind of like chilling. Well, with this to go right the way you want to do when you're trying to clock manage and complement your football, you got to be led by your offensive line. And you can't so even if the offensive line played well, just on the field, you had so many like procedure penalties and all that other stuff, it's taken away from any improvements you had. So I think overall, if they find their rhythm, and it's a good time to try some stuff.
Yeah.
2-minute drill. Let's look at this. Let's see what he does. Let's break this down. But then when you're doing that, you got to make sure that the player, i.e. quarterback, is doing it as well, because there's a lot of improvement that must be had and done in a very short time.
I believe we have Brian on the Honda of Lincoln hotline. If we don't, we'll go straight to a break because we're right up against the clock here. But let's go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline and see if Brian is still on the line. And he is not. All right, Jay. Well, that feels like a good time to take a break. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit more about the quarterback when we return, because we're getting a lot of questions. Cole has a question about play calling and rhythm on offense with the offensive line. So we'll get to Cole's comment here in a few minutes as well. But yeah, let's talk quarterbacks when we return, Jay.
Yeah, talk about quarterbacks and how it can that is, the way that you are efficient in quarterback is kind of like what type of gasoline you put in your car. And so if you want to have a Ferrari, you can't be rolling around with the regular gas. You got to be high efficiency gas. So we'll deal with that when we come back. Send in your questions to the text line. We'll answer all your questions. The phone lines are open.
Yep.
Jay Foreman After Game Show. We'll be right back.
My name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken lips. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Lincoln Federal Savings Bank, personal banking like you remember.
Home. It's more than a place, it's a feeling. This is Eric Bertrand with Lincoln Federal Savings Bank. If you're looking for a place to call home, call me. Let's review your financing options and get you into the home of your dreams. Proudly serving Husker fans.
Personal banking like you remember.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness specialize in getting rid of people's pain quickly and permanently. For 31 years, they've been extremely successful with advanced techniques in pain relief using spinal adjustments and decompression, detoxification, diet and lifestyle modification, and more. They are fully equipped to handle the most seasonal athlete, weekend warrior, car accidents, strains, sprains, and more. Is there anywhere you're experiencing pain on your body, or are you fighting decreased energy and depression? Consult Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness first at 402-476-8619. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln is kicking off October with Can-Am side-by-side specials all month long. Are you ready to rule the terrain on a 2023 Can-Am Defender, Commander, or Maverick? You call the play and score big with rebates up to $1,500 or financing as low as 1.99% for 36 months. From an open road to the trails, there's a Can-Am side-by-side that's right for you, and Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has them all under one roof at their new 27th and I-80 location. Hurry in, the clock is running down. Offer ends October 31st, 2023. Certain conditions apply. See dealer for details.
The dog days of summer are here. Is your yard in need of a touch-up as we head into the fall season? August, September, and October are the months for aeration, and Penner Sprinkler and Lawn is the place to call to get the job done right. If you're noticing any issues with your sprinkler system through the hot summer months, they're always a call away, and they're already scheduling installs for sprinkler systems for next year and all other lawn care needs. Call Penner Sprinkler and Lawn today at 402-413-1215.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers, and if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Don't allow uninvited guests to take over your home. Trust Bats to Rats for a peaceful and rodent-free living space.
It takes a great game plan to win a football game each week, and right now, it's time to plan a trip to get a new car at Mullen Motors. Just like on the football field, there's a wall of defense on the way to Mullen Motors. 48th Street is under construction from Layton all the way to Cornhusker Highway. But the lot at Mullen Motors is full of tons of great vehicles to drive home this fall for the ultimate touchdown. Mullen Motors, still open through road construction at 48th and Walker.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow Mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
What do Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Tiger Woods, and LeBron James have in common? They're all among the best athletes in their sports of all time. And they all do Pilates. Yep, Pilates is not just for women. It helps everyone to bring the muscles of the body into balance and help the mobility and strength in spine and joints. Pilates can help your golf game and anything else you do for fun. Do Pilates, do life. Check out Club Pilates in Lincoln today at 84th and Holdridge. Online at clubpilates.com/Lincoln or at 531-500-1456.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show, powered by Sunbelt Rentals. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador, Select Plumbing, Jimmy John's, Lincoln Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, Fleet Feet, Bure's Cheese Spread on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Kreekak, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back. Jay Foreman post-game show. 20-7. Huskers roll in their way. And doesn't have to be pretty. You just got to learn how to get the job done. And then we can worry about how the painting is, painted. So we're still going to do that. But also we got to make sure that we always highlight the things that they did, because you never want to get on the radio or have an opinion of, listen, they won the game. That's ultimately what happens. I always say an ugly win is better than an ugly loss, and it's definitely better than an ugly loss going into a bye week, especially for this team.
Yeah,
in this situation.
I was just gonna say, there's been a lot of ugly losses. Like, there's a lot. You cannot tell me as a Husker fan, and let us know 402-464-5685 that when Illinois was driving at the end of the game with 3 minutes and 40 seconds left, that you weren't going, oh no.
Yeah.
Nebraska has no timeouts.
Right.
They can't stop the clock. They can't get a breather. It's been a gross, disgusting, ugly game.
What
if Illinois scores?
We've seen this before.
Exactly.
In the first year of Frost, when Northwestern went like 98, they did the John Elway. They had like what 0.02 chance of winning the game, and they went 98 yards. But I think that one thing I'll say to that though, Nick, is I felt when Nebraska got beat for the touchdown.
Yep.
When we were in man-to-man, I felt they should have played zone because you knew I'm big into, that they know that they're not getting the ball after half. So they're going to try desperately to try to, either get, they're in take a shot, mode all the time, or try to get a penalty. And they view both as explosive plays where you get beat by a touchdown. Now you flip to what we talked about with, 3 and some change left. They're driving. We've been there before, but I think people should have a little bit more pause that Tony White will mix up coverages. The players play the coverages excellent. How many times this year up to now, let's knock on wood, have you seen teams try to, when they get and take a shot range, to try to outflank you and then maybe hit you with a wheel route, but they have to come, but the quarterback has to come all the way down to the third option or throw it out of bounds multiple times. So what that lets me know is they're playing the defense and the concept in the situational football in those situations really, really well. Now we just got to do it more often, in between the 20s and then also sometime in the red zone. So, I think, back to what the main point was is the quarterback position, right? This is a really good time. You're 3-3, right? Now, ideally, when we did all our stuff, ideally we kind of felt like, okay, you need to be going into your bye week 4-2.
Yeah.
Right. 2 losses in theory before the season started. Everybody was thinking we're going to lose to Minnesota and into Michigan.
You either win Minnesota or Colorado.
Yeah.
Whichever.
But
one
most likely we had everybody thought before the season, no matter who the coach was and who he brought with him, they were going to be horrible. I mean, when people have said it, I kind of felt the opposite, but 4-2, so you're a little bit behind. But as far as the quarterback position, this is a good time to really like huddle up with them.
Yeah.
And really go back to the basics of this is what I expect them on a quarterback. This is what we're going to do moving forward. This is how we're going to evaluate. This is how we're going to play the position. This is how we're going to win. This is how we're going to be led by you. All that stuff. Because it's important. And, Heinrich Harburg has done a really good job and came in and won, I think he's 3-1 as a starter, right? So he's 3-1 as a starter. So that's commendable. And you can't take that away from him, because he's done a good job for the most part, not turning the ball over. But what we have to do is get through to him and say, listen, if we were like gamblers at a casino table playing poker, we've bluffed these guys plenty of times and we're hitting every time. So we have a pretty good poker face, but we don't want to get in the situation that we're playing a team that we're actually that we're really like say a Northwestern, a Purdue, or in a tight game against Maryland, and our fundamentals break down. I mean, fundamentally, when he breaks down, they way off, and that's what Jeff Sims as well. So we got to learn from our mistakes. We got to watch this tape and get better at it in a week or in 2 weeks, because you get the bye week and then you get leading up to Northwestern. We got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. This was certainly though a step in the right direction of putting yourself in a position to say the 6 wins, right? That magical number is within reach, because if you're on the Illinois sideline here, you're sitting there going, "Oh no, we're 2-4."
And they got a hard schedule in the back end.
But let's be honest. Nebraska fans are sitting here going, "All right, you're 3-3.
You're 3-3.
That magic number is down to 3 games,
right? And 3 out of 6 games.
Yeah.
And so it's very easily attainable. But you can actually really put yourself in more of a powerful position if you really attack this bye week with getting better. Yeah. And because the reason why is because if you take the quarterback position, right, and let's also, Heinrich Harburg was 50%. I mean, his accuracy on his misses were not very good, which also potentially could have been picks. But then also, let's not take away from when he was fitting some tight passes in there, although it did not look pretty.
Yeah.
The sign arm stuff, and then we saw a few batted passes. But the third downs where he found guys, I know he found Fedoni one time, and I know he found Bullock one time, and it was a great catch by Bullock. And obviously hit Marcus Washington on the deep 9 route. Obviously you would like to see him lead him, but he hit him on an explosive play to get out of that backed up after the 4th down stop.
That was the thing, is from the 2 or 3 yard line.
Yeah.
Why? Because your offensive line false started on the first play from scrimmage.
Exactly. So when you're just talking about the quarterback position, you also have to take in effect what you just said. How many times has he been playing in a different position than originally thought on down and distance? What I mean is this. We talked just a little bit in the last segment, it was 3rd and 4, false start, 3rd and 9. That changes the mindset of the coordinator, of the team, the flow of the game, and in particular your quarterback.
Let's go to the Honda of Lincoln hotline, 402-464-5685. Brian was able to call back and hopefully still hanging on with us. Brian, are you there, my man?
Yeah. I'm still here.
Awesome. What's on your mind, Brian?
Well, hey, by the way, congratulations on you guys on your new digs downtown.
Appreciate
where
it.
You guys belong.
Thank you.
Glad to see that. Hey, so my question is, I just want to get Jay's take on the penalties. And it's like some of these that I guess I kind of call dumb penalties. The one towards the end there in the red zone, Ben Scott, the guy was trying to get up and he shoved him back down and we get flagged, and it moves it back. It's like penalties like that so many times have just been drive killers. And I'm just curious, what happens after the game, Jay? What happens after the game? Penalties like that. It's like, why'd you do that? So I'm just curious. Seems to be happening kind of over and over again. So I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brian.
Right. I think the penalties have been. Well, I think the Minnesota game, they were kind of real clean, and then they kind of been, back and forth. But in particularly this game right here,
they finished with 10 penalties, 70 yards and penalties committed by Nebraska.
And you always add on another 40 when they're when the timing's bad. If 4 of those guys or 4 of those penalties create bad timing in situations, so pretty much is the offense might as well just run off the field or a personal foul. There's 4 more penalties that are 40 more yards. So when you're thinking about this and he's asking about penalties, what happens after the game? Well, nothing much directly after the game, because we won the game. So we're talking about it, but we're talking about winning the game, and you're kind of in that mode. But when you get back into meetings, this needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
And whether it's Bryce Benhart, because Bryce Benhart had, even like he'd made some strides. Like, dude, this is not a time for you on national TV to go back to your old self. So we got to tighten you up. Other guys, when you talked about the Ben Scott penalty, and we talked about this. It's funny. It's almost like we're prophets. I talked about this in the pregame show.
Yeah,
I don't need you to be peeling somebody off the pile, like when you're just standing there, right?
Yeah,
I don't need to clock you, clean your clock when there's no reason for me. That's not playing tough. That's not being physical. I need to see you, which he did. I seen him get after Newton. I seen him get after Randall, but I want to see you punish them during the play. I want to see you play through the echo of the whistle. I want to see you drive him into the ground, right? Or a defender in the ground. So these penalties need to be addressed because it's throwing off the rhythm of the whole offense. It's throwing off how you can call plays. It's throwing off how everybody else can play, because there's a couple false starts and the quarterback was barely in his cadence.
Well, and what I want to build off of this as well, Jay, is that this is not an inexperienced offensive line.
Right. Oh, they have
I counted up starts.
It's 120.
Yeah, together.
Almost, yeah.
But that averages out to over 30 per guy.
Right.
Each one of these guys have not been, now certainly freshman year you can't expect them to come in and be
right.
the all Big Ten type of lineman. Heck, I don't know if that's even the expectation at this point right now. I think the expectation is to do your job,
right, and
put your offense into and allow your offense to stay in a rhythm and help out an inexperienced quarterback that you have.
Right.
We talked about it earlier, and one comment I wanted to make when you talked about the cause and effect from that 3rd and 3, I believe, that turned into a 3rd and 8. When you're ahead of the chains it benefits your young and inexperienced quarterback. And frankly, whether the quarterback's inexperienced or experienced, it doesn't matter. It benefits your whole entire offense.
Oh, yeah.
A 5-yard penalty in that situation, and then you stack on top of that the inexperienced quarterback, the injuries on offense that have caused some guys to maybe step up that weren't expecting to. So just the general struggles of Nebraska's offense. When you pile everything else on, it really starts to wear down Nebraska's offense and makes them struggle even more because of all those additional things. And it all starts up front by the most experienced guys on your roster.
Right.
The most experienced 5 guys on your roster: Turner Corcoran, over 30 starts. Ethan Piper, over 30 starts. Ben Scott, maybe not at Nebraska, but over 30 starts. Nuri, just under 30 starts. Bryce Benhart, over 35 starts. There's no reason that time and time again and game after game that this is an issue.
Right.
There is no reason at all, but it also goes back to at some point, it's got to fall on Turner Corcoran. It's got to fall on Piper, on Ben Scott, on Nuri, and on Bryce Benhart to say, hey, let's pick our bleep up.
Yeah.
Let's pick our bleep up, because they understand ball.
Right.
They get it.
Yeah, you done played against the best of the best, and you've done it before. And I think it's a part of the team overall. Now we can kind of move to like where the offense in general, right? I felt like in the first half it was good. And let's also be 100 up front, is that Illinois defense hadn't played up to what they did last year, but they have talent. And they got embarrassed last week. So just like Nebraska's defense stepped it up tonight, you knew you were going to get their best shot. If you should have known you were going to get their best shot.
Yeah.
So it's 20-7. Full control of the game on Nebraska's sideline. And how do you lose control of the game or the momentum? Number one, give up explosive plays. We really didn't do that on defense, right? Number two, high rate of penalties and look like you're stuck in the mud. Well, we did that so much, and you went over the how the play drives ended, and then you start to double down on your, momentum loss by fumble, interception, fumble, and before all that, missing a field goal that, quite frankly, you should have made, even though you made a couple before. So
did you see the hold? Because I want to ask you, the hold there had Alvano had to kick it
off the laces. Right.
How much does that affect? Start a sidebar here, since we brought that up. How much does that affect it?
I'm sure it affects it some, but you still got to make it.
It's still just a 36-yard field goal.
Yeah, you still got to make it.
You're a division kicker.
He has a strong enough leg.
Yeah.
He's kicked enough field goals. It's just probably a little hitch in his giddy up that he needs to make sure that he's got to look at everything. Approach, plant leg, where your plant leg is, where your plant foot is, as far as in relation front or even or behind the ball. So all those things need to be addressed. This is essentially, you take this team and at 3-3, even though you're kind of, let's say, a half a game behind what you expected, you literally if this team is an onion, you peel that thing back by small pieces, and then you dress it back up. You address everything. This is a great week for this team right now. This is a great week for Matt Rhule and the coaching staff. This is a great week for a coach that's new, like assistant coaches some of them never coached major college football before, but let alone coach in the Big Ten, to really go back and self-scout yourself, right? Even to the practice drills you're doing, your practice habits that you're implementing, or anything else like that, or the way that you're even divvying up routes in practice. Everybody needs to really self-evaluate and then go and then come together and then get better at throughout the whole week, and then you'll see a more consistent product, because it's only going to get harder as the stakes get higher. And Nebraska's in a pretty good position. Are they in a position to really think about winning the Big Ten West? No, they need to. They need to still beat Nebraska.
I was going to say,
they still need to beat Nebraska. But here's this: there's nothing wrong with recognizing if Wisconsin doesn't come out of the gates out of their bye week when they play tomorrow, then you can start to think about some things. But that thinking it and then but is different than letting those thoughts take away your focus. Letting those thoughts, you thinking about something else. For instance, right? I always say Nebraska fans spent too much time trying to partner with UCF when Scott was, coming here.
Yeah.
Or even like Don't be the fan. Don't be the player. Don't be the coach. Say, okay, well, we played Northwestern and Penn State just beat the brakes off. Well, we ain't Penn State. We ain't close to Penn State. So yeah, they just lost. Whether it's Illinois, right? Oh, they just got beat by Purdue pretty bad. Well, who are we to say that Purdue isn't better than us or just as good as us? Or we're not as good as them.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you stay in rhythm, both on the field, in the coaching ranks together, and as players. And another big thing, how does this team and football organization handle success?
Yeah.
Is going to be key for the rest of these 6 games. Whether you go to a bowl game or not is how you handle success. And that's from the top down. So that would be, I guess, Matt Rhule / Trev all the way down.
Yeah.
And the support staff, that's your high school relations staff, that's your former player development staff, that's your assistant coaches, that's your analysts, and that's your players, and that's your leadership group. Are you okay with, skating out of Illinois at a 20-7 game and 10 penalties for 70 yards? You look, and offense, not being able to conventionally run the ball when Kansas ran the ball all over the place. Like, are you going to be okay with that because you won, or are you going to be okay with that, or you're going to tolerate it, or whatever, the little bit lower of just being okay with it? But we're also going to put in work to make it better and understand that it's still not the best yet.
Well, I there was a graphic that flashed up on the broadcast that Illinois' first play from Nebraska's side of the 50 came with less than 3.5 minutes in the bowl game.
Right.
3.5 minutes. And so you can look at that as defense. We tip our caps to you because Nebraska's defense was a big reason why Nebraska won this game. There were multiple mistakes from Illinois, right? But it was really a tone setter right from the get-go. The 4th and inches stop on the goal line. They stopped him at a third and goal from the 1. Then they stopped him 4th and goal from maybe the half-yard line. And those are such judgment calls. You never know what the call is going to be, and you never know. They're never able to overturn them, but you just freaky things happen. However, you can also look at it as we've discussed. A win is a win, but man, when your defense puts together that type of performance, you would really like to leave that game
34-7
with more of a for sure dominant victory. But instead, towards the end of the game, in the fourth quarter, at the start, at the 10-minute and at the 11-minute mark in the third quarter, you scratch that. That would be the fourth quarter. 11-minute mark in the fourth quarter, you fumble it. At the 10-minute mark in the fourth quarter, you throw an interception. At the 4-minute mark in the fourth quarter, you fumble it again.
Right.
And so you want to talk about being able to sustain drives. We saw short flashes from Nebraska in their ability to sustain drives in that fourth quarter. Frankly, they go 11 plays, 38 yards. They get the ball on the 50-yard line. It ends at the Illinois 12 with that fumble. That was a drive, and this is what Matt Rhule talks about. You're up 20-7, I believe, at this point. Towards the end of the third quarter, transferring over into the fourth quarter, you get the ball at the third quarter with 3 minutes and 3 seconds at the 50-yard line.
Yeah.
You take up 11 plays, 38 yards, 6 minutes and 22 seconds while you're up 20-7, and it ends in a fumble at the Illinois 12.
Yeah.
Those are we're seeing flashes of what Nebraska needs to do. We're not seeing consistency or completion of these drives.
And you're seeing flashes of it, and then you're seeing it bottom out with the turnovers. And so they need to get over that and get that definitely rectified. And I think it comes from relaxing and clock watching. And clock watching, I think, like, okay, we're driving at 6. They thought you get down to the 13, you really kind of leaned on them, as Matt Rhule said, and making them bleed a little bit. Then you get close to, like, within the 15-yard line, you think you're just automatically going to score a touchdown, or you're like, all right, I'm not going to, if we score, we score. If not, we're going to get 3 points. Well, if they so happen to go on a run and get back in this game, you would have rather had those extra 4 points to stave them off. And so ultimately, I think they might have let their guard down. But then also, I felt like Illinois stepped it up, though.
They did.
So when they stepped it up, we weren't really equipped to answer, but then defensively was able to take the baton and take us home. So a big thing they need to do is obviously get a lot better on offense. And then as far as defense, they just got to get a little bit better in their fits.
Yeah.
There's two plays that well, first of all, they had a lot of guys that stepped up, right? I feel like that stepped up. I felt Nash did a really good job in the middle. He did. There was a couple of short yarders, and they had 2 4th down stops, one at the goal line, one on the field. I felt like Nick Henrich and Bullock really stepped up linebacker-wise. I thought you saw some flashes out of Princewell from a jack.
Yeah.
I felt like the DBs overall played good. But I think some of the things so I think that's how you're able to win this game with your players that needed to step up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you say, okay, well, the defense has been played well. Do they have anything to fix in the bye week? Yeah, you do. Because when they ran the smoke screen, or kind of like the play that went from the defense's left to the right. So I don't know if it was a jet sweep or just kind of a quick screen out there after motion. Hartzog, lost leverage and didn't set the force or set the edge, which then led to explosive play. And so those are the things you need to do and get better at. There's another play where they kind of ran like a when they have the Nash at the nose and the other like 5 technique, they ran a little bit of like ET stunt, and Nash was coming around to set force. Well, he came too tight, ran into the tackle. Well, guess where the running back went? Right outside the tackle, explosive play. Nebraska was able to bow up and stop him. But I also think that some of the things that need to be fixed are easily and highly the percentage of it being ingrained is pretty is pretty high. So, again, this bye week couldn't come at a better time for this team. Get healthy, get refreshed, kind of like direct yourself and become goal oriented or see what you want to do, and then put your best foot forward. You got 2 weeks to study for Northwestern.
Yeah,
2 weeks. That's you're in an advantageous position.
Well, I was going to say once again, I said this statistic throughout the week and on the show today. Nebraska under the previous staff never won a game going into the bye week and never won one coming out.
Right.
Matt Rhule and company, they've done something that Nebraska hasn't done in over 4 years.
Right.
Now follow that up with the second part of it. Right?
With the one after.
With the second part of it. Before we get to break here, we got to go to the YouTube stream. And once again, you guys can chime in, whether it's on the Starter Heyman Jewelers text line, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the same number there. We'll take your calls. Or on our Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can also watch us on Allo Channel 951. Cole asked this earlier, and I want to make sure we get to this. How, as a play caller, do you find rhythm when the offensive line can't do anything consistently? Jay, you kind of talked about it to where once you do find rhythm, the offensive line will have no choice but to really get in that rhythm as well and kind of fall in line.
Right. You saw like they had some rhythm in the first half. It wasn't perfect, but they had somewhat of rhythm. Now, I feel like that comes from play calling. I think, a little bit more of emphasis on conventional run game. Now, that goes hand in hand with having the run game conventional run games plays called for the personnel. That means ideally you don't need Bryce Benhart trying to pull and block in space and so forth and so on. So those two things. And then the ratio of calling it versus QB run and pass. That gets you in a rhythm. You saw that at times in the first half, and that's how you end up getting with the 20-7 lead. But then when you get out of it, and just say the first half is not complete because the last drive before halftime is the pattern. It's not very good. So from there on, then you kind of slow play it, and then you finally wake up. Well, in order to get these guys to start playing more efficiently offensively, especially across the line, they gotta be in a rhythm too. So if they're feeling like they can push guys off the ball, all the passes and stuff has to wait. So all that is what needs to be considered and something that needs to be recognized. But then also, here's the elephant in the room, which is not because it's on national TV. Way too many penalties across that line.
Yeah.
Right? Teddy Prohaska twice. Benhart. So forth and so on. So they have to know as players what you're doing at times. You cannot you cannot. Who is he looking at?
I think he's looking at you.
Look at he's watching.
He's just hanging out.
Yeah.
What's
got
up,
a
man?
fan. Yep. I think you can
I was wondering how long you're going to be able to just go smooth through it.
Yeah, this is not very. It's not. But
It's not great when somebody's
here's
just
the
staring
best
at
part.
you
Here's the best part. Bach back there laughing. Oh,
I'm
your
sure
right shoulder.
he is.
Look at him.
I'm sure he is. Yeah, there he is.
But the thing is
anyway,
he needs he needs a charger.
Yeah,
he needs a charger. You need your phone charged.
I'm not sure.
But the thing is, though, honestly, though, is these guys need to start holding each other accountable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because you got to think for all those linemen, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if Ethan Piper had a penalty, but he got blown back one time. He did have a pancake block, so you got him. Bryce Benhart offsides. Teddy Prohaska offsides. I think Nuri was doing something. Ben Scott late hit.
Yeah.
Okay. All these penalties that you guys are doing, these are individual choices. We need to get this stuff together. And you need to start holding each other accountable, whether it's doing more gassers or running or some sort of things. You got to make it to where you're getting their attention. It's not intentional. See, the high penalties, these games is different than if there's subjective calls by the refs. Because you can argue with those. Was it really pass interference? Was it really holding? Yeah, I see you.
There he is. Thumbs up. How about
look
that?
At it. Yeah,
look at
I
him.
see you.
There he
Yeah,
is. No, there's no camera.
Yeah, no camera.
Nice try. Nice try.
You're on TV.
You can flip. You can flip off all you want.
Yeah.
You're not on camera, my man.
Those are different than the ones that
I like this.
Then I know, right? Than the ones that are not subjective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are ones that are controllable. You know, so those are the ones that are more alarming. And look, he's moving on. Look at Bach. He's moving over to Bach.
He's moving over to the production studio.
So those are the ones that you have to really hammer home.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that can win or lose you games. Those are the ones we look, you have to step up for this young quarterback, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to step up if Jeff Sims.
I mentioned
you got to step up if Jeff Sims is there. You got to step.
No matter who it is.
You're right. You got to step way up.
Like Nebraska's not good enough to coast.
Right, and that's what we did
in the second half.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. Unnamed texter, we've gotten a couple negative texts, Jay. Coming at you and I. And we like to listen to both sides, right? It's not all praise.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, Jay.
Yeah.
So unnamed texter, fun fact, I can see where they're texting from. They're texting from the state of Iowa.
I love you.
Listeners from the state of Iowa.
We love you, Iowa.
Says, did we just win and basically dominate? Negative Nellies, what a joke. Then they texted a couple minutes later and said, did we do anything good? Let's comment on that.
Sure.
Throughout the course of the show, we've taken the good and we've also discussed the bad because there was a lot of good, especially in that first half.
All right.
We've praised the defense for the job that they've done, but with a real and honest mind, that's what Jay and I want to provide here.
Right.
Is that in the second half, Nebraska was fortunate that their defense stepped up in the way they did, and that Illinois made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
Because Nebraska's offense made a lot of mistakes in the late third, early fourth quarters times to where against a Michigan, and I understand that you take the win where you get it, but against the top teams and where Nebraska wants to eventually be, those things won't fly and they can't happen.
Yeah, I don't think we're negative at all. I think the defense played well enough to win. I think the special teams did a good job. And it had a bounce back week. So that's good. I think the special teams were playing hard and they created their own luck. We had some things go our way in the first half, but I feel like, they kind of, the ball bounced, the one, we caused a fumble bounce right into Tommy Hill's hands and all that. But I think you create your own luck, right? I think you play with enough physicality and energy, you create your own luck. I feel like getting the call reversed on the punt return where it hit the Illinois, defender
the left
on the
arm of the runner.
You create your own luck because you actually have your hands inside and you're playing low man wins. You're doing all those positive things, right? And then
How about that? Bounce going Nebraska's way in that situation.
But they created it though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also when Nebraska did a really good job of recovering a couple of muff kicks and all that other stuff. You're playing with speed and energy. You're not just assuming that they're going to give you this, the sign because the ball is going out the end zone when you're kicking through the wind. And then offensively, I felt like in the first half they stepped up when in the times of need, and they haven't been able to do that. Right. I felt like when they gave Anthony Grant the ball with the kind of certain play call, they did well. I thought they blocked so well some stuff. I actually thought, to be honest with you, in the first half and the majority of the third quarter, and maybe I could say overall all game, they pass blocked pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
They really did. I don't think Heinrich Harburg was under like complete stress, so I feel like they passed block better. I think in the first half they ran block pretty decent, but they didn't do it to the rate in the second half. And I feel like the receivers actually caught the ball today. I mean, it's great to see Malachi Coleman in there. He came in there and caught it. He was open another one. I said that the biggest thing is you got to get Anthony Grant because we're gonna need him. So you better figure out a way to get him going.
Yeah.
And because these are the same guys that blocked last year. So besides Ben Scott, so in theory you got a pretty decent offensive line. So I think what another thing they need to do is continue to expand the passing game, Nick.
Yeah.
Without losing your identity.
Yeah. Well, and
you know what I'm
because
saying?
and that's the thing, and understanding your skill set, because Nebraska doesn't have, as we've discussed, and I mean this in the most genuine and upfront way, Nebraska doesn't have a quarterback that can throw it 43 times a game, nor should they. Nebraska doesn't have a guy that can stretch and take the top off the defense like they have had in years past. They don't.
Right.
They don't have the offensive line that you can consistently rely on them.
And push people off.
And so Nebraska's got to figure out a way to use their skill set, because they do have talented guys.
Right.
They have talented guys.
And they got guys that
it just feels like they're right now in this process, and slowly but surely we're seeing some more pieces of it come together week after week. And that's what makes this bye week so important for Nebraska, because after this bye week, it's full go ahead for the rest of the year. It's full go ahead. You have the Northwesterns, you have the Purdues, you have the Michigan States, but once November hits, it's on.
Yeah.
And if you can position yourself and play good enough football to become better for the month of November, then you get to really start playing for something.
Right. And this week is huge for Self Scout. And Self Scout is looking at what you've been doing well and not doing well, both individually and collectively. And so, I think they're in a good position. It's not the best position or great, but I tell you what, the having the will to go out there on the road and battle after being embarrassed at home, will pay dividends late in the season. So when we come back, we'll take some more texts. We'll run down the text and take calls. Please feel free to call in. I know it's late, but everybody should be wired up. O Street is active. Hopefully those phone lines get active. Jay Foreman post-game show. We'll be right back.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents looking to jumpstart their real estate career, and to current agents who want to take their business to the next level.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness specialize in getting rid of people's pain quickly and permanently. For 31 years, they've been extremely successful with advanced techniques in pain relief using spinal adjustments and decompression, detoxification, diet and lifestyle modification, and more. They are fully equipped to handle the most seasonal athlete, weekend warrior, car accidents, strains, sprains, and more. Is there anywhere you're experiencing pain on your body, or are you fighting decreased energy and depression? Consult Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness first at 402-476-8619.
So I switched my insurance to State Farm, and get this. I talked to an actual State Farm agent who lives in my actual town. And get this. My actual agent in my actual town gave me actual help with the coverage I needed. And get this. My actual agent in my actual town who gave me actual help actually knows my name. And get this. They actually say it's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Kreekak, at 402-474-1173.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan.
This is Lincoln's
Football
home for
season
sports
is here,
talk on the
and
FM
there's one
dial.
place
Also
that has
online
all
at
the games,
theticketfm.com.
plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill, 30th and Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben Sandwich or the Prime Rib French Dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers, and if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Don't allow uninvited guests to take over your home. Trust Bats to Rats for a peaceful and rodent-free living space.
It takes a great game plan to win a football game each week, and right now, it's time to plan a trip to get a new car at Mullen Motors. Just like on the football field, there's a wall of defense on the way to Mullen Motors. 48th Street is under construction from Layton all the way to Cornhusker Highway. But the lot at Mullen Motors is full of tons of great vehicles to drive home this fall for the ultimate touchdown. Mullen Motors, still open through road construction at 48th and Walker.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Lincoln Federal Savings Bank. Personal banking like you remember.
Home. It's more than a place, it's a feeling. This is Eric Bertrand with Lincoln Federal Savings Bank. If you're looking for a place to call home, call me. Let's review your financing options and get you into the home of your dreams. Proudly serving Husker fans.
Personal banking like you remember.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planting season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha. The dog days of summer are here. Is your yard in need of a touch-up as we head into the fall season? August, September, and October are the months for aeration, and Penner Sprinkler and Lawn is the place to call to get the job done right. If you're noticing any issues with your sprinkler system through the hot summer months, they're always a call away, and they're already scheduling installs for sprinkler systems for next year and all other lawn care needs. Call Penner Sprinkler and Lawn today at 402-413-1215.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman Postgame Show, sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Krekak, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Jay Foreman Postgame Show, sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Krekak, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back, Jay Foreman Post-Game Show, man. It's always good after a victory, man. And I will tell you what, we were in there and we heard a little bit of Nick Henrich talking. He's talked about it. You know, they felt like they needed to step up this week. It's good that you feel that they have the, you know, pride about the work, man. And that's and what that shows me is Matt Rhule and staff has have these guys kind of moving in the right direction when, you know, very easily you get a new coach and then you can kind of go through the motions, and then if things don't go right, you know, you can jump ship. But they're all prideful about it, so they believe in what they're saying.
Well, here let's listen to some of Matt Rhule post-game press conference audio here, as there's a couple quotes that we can definitely get to. Let's start with this one, since you talked about new coach, new mindset, new philosophy. Here's Matt Rhule on how the team has bought into his philosophy.
Yeah, I don't have to prove anything to anybody. I know what we're doing works.
No, that's your guys.
Yeah, no, they're 100% bought in. They really are. I mean, I'm shocked. Honestly, I'm shocked. Like, I kind of, like, and this isn't about me. When I say that, it's not about me. It's them. Like, Like when I sit there with Ty Robinson, he's like, man, I think I told this to you guys the other day. Like, he's like, man, I'm so jealous these young guys be part of this. Like, working hard is never a punishment, and grinding this week is never punishment. I'm just happy they got some success from this week so that I could sit there and say, hey, was Sunday worth it? Kind of like, not I told you so, but I told you so. And because they were a better team than they were last. We were better than we were last Saturday, but we weren't, which doesn't matter. So tonight, and then, let's just say they came down, they scored, and they would have won that game. They've been Minnesota all over again, right? Well, no, we're getting better. We're a better football team. I'm just glad they had the results. So we're 3-3. We're going to hit the bye week. We're going to come out each week. We're going to play each week. It's not going to be perfect. I just really hope people, instead of like just jumping ahead to like what we're going to be and all this, I just hope they kind of enjoy this ride. Coach Riley, Pat Riley calls it the innocent climb. You know how bad Emmett Johnson felt after he fumbled that ball and he came over to me, like looking at me, and I was like, nobody cares. Keep playing. Like, now we do care, but this is like this innocent climb where these kids are just out there giving their all for this, And so, yeah, sometimes we line up wrong, and sometimes we have 12 guys. So that, it's not perfect. It can be a little bit frustrating, but it's a beautiful phase watching young people do something, learn how to win and fight for each other. And that's what you saw tonight. I said, I will say this, Sam, because you asked me. I got in there for the defense. I said, hey, do you guys love AG? They're like, yeah, we love AG. I said, he needs you guys right now. He just fumbled his football. Like, he needs you guys right now. And that's when they told me to get out of the huddle. We got this. So we got special guys, really, really, really care about him.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, look, he knows more about this team than any of us, right?
Yeah.
Just he's around him. And as the head coach, I can say this. He's actually around himself.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a good pulse on this team. And the staff's around him, so they know what these guys, or they have a good idea what these guys are made of. And he can look at the tape differently because he knows the players. He's seen them do it multiple times. But then also, they're able to see like the all 22 and the cut-ups, and so he knows when a play is looks like it's dead in the water. Well, maybe one guy just went the wrong way or whiffed him. So he knows a lot more about this team. And he should be not satisfied, but happy that they're all bought in, right?
Yeah.
And they're doing it with their actions. And then also, his quote about, just taking it and enjoying the ride. I tell DP, look, this is like a documentary in the first year of Matt Rhule.
12 parts,
but they're all separate.
Yeah.
So it's not like, if you watch Game of Thrones, you like, okay, you see the prequel for next. No. It's start, stop. You don't erase it, but it's there, and you start and stop it again. And so when they start to get some continuity, then you'll start to see some flow going. And so, it's hard to not see what they could be because you see it at times. But then, Matt Rhule's right. You got to make sure that you sit back and watch football right now for what it is. But that you can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Without lowering expectations. I can watch a game and be like, man, you've seen some improvement, right?
Yeah.
You've seen guys do it. That's why it's probably so disappointing in the offensive line where you had guys just jumping off and too jumpy because you kind of felt like you kind of nipped that in the butt. And then you felt like, okay, they got on guys pretty good. You've seen in the first half, they got after a pretty good defensive line. Pretty good, right? Pushing them back. Well, then you think like, okay, well, then what happened in the second half? So it's a good position to be in. Definitely enjoying it, and they have a lot of opportunity to continue to get better.
We've had a lot of questions, and once again, keep sending them in. Feel free. You guys are up just as late as we are here, so we appreciate you hanging out with us. I can tell you from my view, I got the number of viewers that were on, and I can tell you right now, viewership has not dropped since we started. So this is a celebration, obviously, because Nebraska did get a victory, and those have been few and far between the last few years. And Nebraska's a 500 ball club right now, right, and they are going into a bye week. So we appreciate you guys hanging out with us and staying up late with us. We'll be here for another 40 minutes or so and take you to the top of the hour. So 402-464-5685. We've gotten a lot of questions about quarterbacks, and we discussed quarterbacks earlier. And now I want to put a different kind of angle and spin on it into how do you still use Jeff Sims? Because it really feels like the ship of Jeff Sims being the starting quarterback has somewhat sailed. Heiner Carberg, for the most part, hasn't looked great, but has been able to run the offense to a certain extent. ultimately, at the end of the day, has gotten 3 wins out of the 4 games that he started.
Got a Big Ten win.
On the road, nonetheless, although it's not a hostile environment, not to say the least, but it's still a Big Ten victory on the road. How do you still incorporate Jeff Sims? Because he has a lot of things that you can't teach. The speed, the size. Do you still incorporate him?
Yeah, I think you have to.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to because Jeff Sims has way more experience.
I should have asked. Are we in the same boat of that? This is Heinrich Harburg's job right now.
I think so. I think Northwestern. I'd be very surprised if he's not starting.
And that's my thing. You wonder how does the staff then go back?
Well, you can if Heinrich Harburg doesn't, if he doesn't continue to get better.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then yeah, you sure because you got it because like when you went through that 4 or 5 series spurt, right?
Yeah.
Where, there was 4 or 5 passes that easily could have got picked off.
Exactly.
So you can go back to Jeff Sims. The biggest thing is they gotta take what they learned, what's been successful with Heinrich Harburg, and marry that to Jeff Sims. They both have the same skill set, so that's where the continuity will be. Obviously in Nebraska's advantage, and so they just need to find a role for Jeff Sims. Jeff Sims guys to get healthy enough to where he can go out there and be the most effective players he can be. You saw Cam Lennart out there playing. He still has a little hitch in his giddy up. It was good to see him get out there, but there's plays that he would normally make. He's just not in a position to make it. So, I think you just need to just move forward with where it's at, and it'll all take care of itself. If Heinrich starts to separate himself, then you know what? More power to him. He's taken full advantage of this opportunity and then extended it by getting better, especially coming out of the bye week, right? Or if he kind of takes a step back or stays pat and you throw Jeff Sims in there, Jeff Sims has had time to see what's been successful with Nebraska's offense, seen what's been successful with Nebraska quarterback Heinrich Harburg, either implement that or kind of, keep it as, like I always use an analogy for baseball, keep it as your curveball, especially curveball, and, go from there. So I don't think it's, a bad position. I think injuries are always going to happen. It's unfortunate that Jeff was hurt for a few weeks. I think he's close to coming back, and so he just needs to get back out there and play, and the rest to take care of himself because he is just as much as Heinrich Harburg is, a phenomenal athlete.
Mm-hmm.
So is Jeff Sims in a lot of ways, and you saw it, last game he played against Colorado. So there's a lot to be had. They got to have to have a lot of open communication, open conversation, hard conversations, because I'm sure Jeff Sims feels that once he gets healthy, he needs to move right back in there. But if Heinrich Harburg wins Northwestern, homeboy, we're gonna have another conversation.
And it's gonna be it's an interesting kind of dynamic, I guess, because you have this overhanging cloud or thought from the fan base, and I think some of the media members, like I'm sitting here thinking,
well, what do you think?
Jeff Sims is the guy that they brought in,
right?
And it turns out that he's not the guy that's leading them to victories.
Not right now, but
right now.
But let me ask you this: do you think? How far do you think Jeff Sims' ship has sailed? And here's an analogy: you're on the beach, and the cruise ship is taking off. Do you still see it on the horizon?
Yeah.
Or is it gone?
Oh, I think you see it.
Is it highly visible, or is it like at dusk and you just see a glimpse of it?
No, I think it's highly visible because and that's what makes this such a complicated discussion, I think, because it's not as if Heinrich Harburg has come in, stolen the show, and played out of his mind.
Yeah. So analogy of people would be Oklahoma a couple years ago after the Nebraska game. Spencer Rattler gets sat down. Caleb Williams immediately comes in and sets the world on fire, sets himself up to win the Heisman the next year. He hasn't played like that.
I don't know if Heinrich Harburg has given the coaches enough to where they'll go in, have their meeting, and say, guys, there's no way we can go back. I don't think he's given them that.
No.
He's played played well, and that's not a knock.
Yeah, that's not a knock at all. It's just it's circumstantial.
Yes.
And it's the same offensive line. You had two of your bell cows at running back out, essentially one in the first half and Ramir, and the other is Gabe in the second half against, I think, Northern Illinois. So, I think he hasn't been, the circumstances are different, but then that just leads to where you be like, okay, the hardest conversation that they're going to have isn't whether this is Heinrich Harburg's job and he's so far ahead no matter what. The hardest conversation is how are we going to get Jeff Sims back up to speed in legitimate form as far as rep counts and opportunity with the guys they're going to be playing to make sure when he goes into the game, whenever that will, may be, whether it's going in every like third or fourth series, that he's able to uphold the offense and be effective and be the best version of himself. That's going to take a lot more mental capacity and wherewithal and energy, not just the, emotional part of it, trying to appease everybody. So they got to find a way, because they're highly invested in the Jeff Sims, both like mentally and rep wise, through the off season. So you have to make sure that you put him in a position to compete. It'll make Heinrich better. It'll make him better. But nothing should be given from here on out.
Yeah, I think it's such an interesting conversation because when you look at just the evolution of all the events, right? And Casey Thompson Lee, I mean, I'm talking all the way back in the off season and how different this thing could look.
Yeah.
Right. But this is where Nebraska's offense is at. I guess my point to this conversation is that you haven't won games because of your offense.
It hasn't been a 50-point explosion or something like that.
That's where I'm at, is that you haven't won games simply because of your offense, or they've played a big enough part to say, yeah, it was a complete 50-50 effort from both offensive and defensive side of it. It's definitely leaned a little bit more on the defense, and that's okay. Like that is perfectly acceptable as long as you buy into that, I think. And so Nebraska, it's just going to be interesting. Once again, I mean, we're getting tons of people on the stream saying, Nick, they can't sit Heinrich Harburg. They won't sit Heinrich Harburg. You need a shot. We just got, you don't sit a winner. Like, I don't know if we can crown Heinrich Harburg this
year. This year, he's a winner. He's 3-1. He's 75%.
I understand.
He's a winner. Chicken dinner.
I understand that.
Yeah, you can't stop, or you cannot start him right now. But that doesn't mean that you don't have the understanding that if Jeff Sims plays at or as good as him or a little bit better, that he's starting.
You have to we have to remember that this staff chose Jeff Sims really early in the process.
Yeah, so I mean,
let's be honest.
You're halfway through the season. Things could get flipped around. Heinrich Harburg could get hurt, and then Jeff Sims has got to take us on in. The biggest thing that these two dudes can do is play better.
Yeah,
better. Get more accurate, both of them. Get the nuances of running an option or being a high percentage ball handler from a quarterback position. You got to get better at that. And so once you do that, that's going to help you on the field. And if they both do it at the pace that I hope and think they will, you're going to have a competition essentially week to week. It's going to make Heinrich get better. It's going to make Jeff get better. And if they both get better together, then it just kind of, we've seen this over history. So what they just need to do is let the main thing be the main thing.
I was just going to say exactly what you just said is basically something Nebraska as a program hasn't had in recent memory.
Yeah.
An authentic, true quarterback competition.
Yeah. Open and honest meetings upon meetings, checking in. Laying out what everybody needs to do. I mean, legit. Like that. None of this. I was going to say
it's none of the. Hey, yeah, we have a quarterback competition. Then you see Tristan Gebbia transfer 2 or 3 weeks before the season begins. It's not. It's not that. It's not. Hey, we have a backup wide receiver as our second string quarterback in Luke McCaffrey. Yeah, he's competing with Adrian for the job.
Right.
When in reality, he's not.
Yeah, he's just going to be a special.
It's not. It's not that. It's not just speaking that there's a quarterback competition.
This is legit. This is legit.
And give credit to Heinrich for that because after Colorado, the conversation was, all right, this is Jeff Sims' job. He's not going to lose it due to an injury, which can be all valid and accurate and factual. But we said it, that after Northern Illinois and after Louisiana Tech, you force them to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Now the next thing is to force them to make a decision. And if it ends up being a controversy, make it positive on your side of things.
Right.
That's why there's a controversy. Is because there's a lot of people, the majority think you should be playing over a next guy because of your talent. And so far to that point, through 4 games, Heinrich Harburg has done that to an extent.
Yeah, he's done a really good job of taking advantage of his opportunity. And an analogy I think we had when you were in, Nick, was, now you have a legit appetizer conversation, probably like small entree. Now you want to get to the point to where you're having a full-on 4-course meal conversation. And then you want to make sure that the person that loses out is taken care of to make sure that they're able to move on in their career. So if they choose to do so, I think that's good. I think Jeff Sims, is handpicked. Doesn't mean they're gonna Matt Rhule and those guys are gonna force him, down everybody's throat. I think Jeff, if he takes the time to get better at the things that are his weaknesses, then he'll realize what he needs to work on and go from there. So I just think that everything will work itself out. And the great thing about it, Nick, they both have to get significantly better like yesterday.
I agree.
And so that if that is going there, they're going to bring the best out of each other. And then you'll have the best, version of what we hope we had at the quarterback position.
Well, Jay, we got about 35 minutes left of the show. All right, my man. We hanging on?
Yeah, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, let's roll.
There
we
you
got
go.
Bach's going to come in, right?
Yeah, we got more Matt Rhule clips to play. We definitely, I mean, you guys are still up. I see you on the stream. You guys are still commenting.
Yeah, we're still going strong, baby. We're going to 1 o'clock at night.
1 a.m.
Dang.
So we appreciate it. This is definitely
Is there any more night games? Yeah, man, because Michigan State at night?
Yeah.
Woo. Yeah.
Send us to break, Jay. Get us out of here.
Yeah, we're going to go to break. We're going to come back. Bach's is going to come in. We're going to play some Matt Rhule stuff, read some text and stuff off the YouTube and off the text line. Jay Foreman After Game Show. We'll be right back.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
What is Kasasa Cash at Liberty First Credit Union? It's more. More earning, more freedom, more rewards. With Kasasa Cash, you earn up to 5.5% APY, and your rewards begin instantly from a penny up to $40,000, all without monthly service fees. Plus, Kasasa Cash at Liberty First Credit Union gives you more ATMs nationwide. When you want more, you want Kasasa Cash. Visit libertyfirstcu.com for details. Federally insured by NCUA. Liberty First Credit Union. Banking with purpose. Account qualifications apply.
This is Chris Elgert, loan originator at Lincoln Federal. With over 20 years in the industry, I have found it's extremely gratifying to solve my customers' home financing needs and then show them the options and strategies available for them to fulfill their goals. But my biggest reward comes when I watch my valued customers experience the American dream of home ownership and move into their new home. Talk with me about your home loan at Lincoln Federal and Go Big Red. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Personal banking like you remember.
Elway Power Sports of Lincoln is kicking off October with Can-Am side-by-side specials all month long. Are you ready to rule the terrain on a 2023 Can-Am Defender, Commander, or Maverick? You call the play and score big with rebates up to $1,500 or financing as low as 1.99% for 36 months. From an open road to the trails, there's a Can-Am side-by-side that's right for you, and Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has them all under one roof at their new 27th and I-80 location. Hurry in, the clock is running down. Offer ends October 31st, 2023. Certain conditions apply. See dealer for details. Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness specialize in getting rid of people's pain quickly and permanently. For 31 years, they've been extremely successful with advanced techniques in pain relief using spinal adjustments and decompression, detoxification, diet and lifestyle modification, and more. They are fully equipped to handle the most seasonal athlete, weekend warrior, car accidents, strains, sprains, and more. Is there anywhere you're experiencing pain on your body, or are you fighting decreased energy and depression? Consult Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness first at 402-476-8619.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
It takes a great game plan to win a football game each week, and right now, it's time to plan a trip to get a new car at Mullen Motors. Just like on the football field, there's a wall of defense on the way to Mullen Motors. 48th Street is under construction from Layton all the way to Cornhusker Highway. But the lot at Mullen Motors is full of tons of great vehicles to drive home this fall for the ultimate touchdown. Mullen Motors, still open through road construction at 48th and Walker.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Hey, it's Sean Callahan, and football season is here, and there is one place that has all the games, plus great food and beer specials. Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Whether it's Thursday night football, college football Saturdays, NFL Sundays, or Monday night football, there's a great view of the game from any seat with different food and drink specials every night. Try the Blue Ribbon Reuben sandwich or the prime rib French dip or any of their famous chicken wings. That's Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill.
Experience the Landmark difference with the next level of dealer support. Landmark, your local John Deere dealer, continually works to have parts on hand the first time you walk in the door. Our internal route system means we can get the parts to you typically same or next day to keep you up and running. At Landmark, we understand time is money. Get more uptime with our after-hours parts and service support on the phone or in the field. Our sales, precision ag, parts, and service teams are ready to serve you this planning season. Stop by your local Landmark today to experience the Landmark difference.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
It's time for the Jay Foreman Postgame Show.
Here's Coy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score.
A look to the left, and he kind of telegraphed it all the way. When the ball was tipped, Foreman's in the right spot.
Sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinnie Creek Cap, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical.
Here's Fuente dropping back, fires a pass, and it's intercepted by the Huskers at the 25, Jay Foreman. And Foreman takes it down to the 19-yard line of Oklahoma. Another big play by the Black Shirts.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We are back in full effect. The energy man, the party starter, Bach is in the building.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, look, we're going to be on for 2.5 hours strong. Right. Yeah, we started at 11, 10:30?
Oh, yeah.
10:30. Yeah, we're going strong.
So.
We're gaining momentum.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just don't fumble it down the stretch.
Hey, the momentum's stopping at 1 a.m. I'm going to put my foot down.
Yeah, we're going to be out of here at 12:59. That car going to be getting on. But
Remote start.
I'm out. Anyways, Bach. See, very studious over there.
Yeah.
Hey, look, man, I like it, man. My man came here at 12:30, ready to take it on in.
That's right.
You like me and Nick ran the first 2 legs or 3 legs of the 4x1 relay. You got a lot of notes over there. What you got for us, man?
Well, that's just my notes I take throughout the game to keep me up with the drives and keep what's going on. But I was just checking with my notes. I did like the beginning of this game. I like a Big Ten West battle. It just kind of got too ugly there at the end. I like an ugly fight. I just don't want it to get too ugly.
And what else you got?
Oh, not too much. That's pretty much what I got in there.
There's a lot of writing over there.
I know. I'm telling you, this is basically
you went double-sided
yeah.
and talking about, I don't got too much over there.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying it's not like these are all different stats or anything. This is just my drive chart. I can tell you play-by-play of what I thought was important. But I don't know. I mean, overall, I'm happy for Matt Rhule to get his first Big Ten win. I think that the defense, it's one of those games that reminds me of 2009. Do you remember the Iowa State game
when they had 9 turnovers.
Wait, yes, was this the double overtime or whatever game?
No. It just went. They just had like 9 turnovers. Iowa State,
Yeah.
I think, was pretty close to winning that game. I can't remember. I think they won that game. So it was different in that way. But it's just like sometimes you watch a defense and an offense just refuse to win the game, refuse to put the coffin or the nail in the coffin. And the defense had to go out there and make play after play after play, series after series to somehow hold Illinois to 7 points. Now, granted, Illinois doesn't have like a high-flying offense or anything, but I was very impressed with the defense and saw some potential from the offense.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty fair assessment. What'd you think about the kicking game? I felt like Nebraska was well coached in that. The couple of like the pooch kicks, I know the weather made them pooch kicks.
Yeah.
Illinois did not feel them good.
Yeah.
So, so what do you think about that?
Well, it's interesting because it looked like, Illinois looked like a Scott Frost Nebraska coach. Team.
I was just going to say, Illinois special teams coach under fire after today.
Yeah.
Do you know who he is?
I do not.
Neither do I. But Ben, you know, we need you guys to look up. You know, look who because he is not going to sleep tonight.
Jay, they tried the rugby punt.
Ugh,
and he ran outside.
But what
Blaze Gunnarsson blocked it with his leg.
His left eye.
Hold on. Now,
He blocked it with his left
I want to ask you
side.
this: Did he really block it?
He got it kicked into him.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out. But that man, they tried to rugby punt.
Things get weird out here at 12:30.
Hey, we had our first moon.
Yeah,
we had our first moon.
Somebody did, yeah.
Yeah.
Did he put his butt cheeks up against the window?
He did.
We had our first moon.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, heck no.
Anyway, they rugby punted it, and they tried to run outside the blocker. And he's like, "Oh wait, this is not where I'm supposed to be." He tried to cut up field and still booted away. And that man, no
and
way.
he's like a 30-year-old.
No way the special teams
30-year-old
coach can have a
punter.
job.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, they look ill prepared, but it also, you got to give it Nebraska, made it an advantageous score for them as far as the special teams grade. So I want to ask you Bach, about me and Nick have been talking about the quarterback position. How do you think they should move forward? Assuming Jeff Sims is going to be even more healthy after the bye week.
It's tough because Harburg has some things that were working in that game at times, some good runs. Obviously, stiff arming people, running people over. He's got a long ways to go in the passing game. I mean, I'll say this for his sidearm throw. They need it a few times, which sometimes he's throwing it when he doesn't.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. The best throw of his career, I think, to Marcus Washington.
Yeah.
So I mean, there were some good sides. I know it kind of tailed off, and he had 3 straight throws there before half that probably could have been intercepted. Missed some open receivers there. So I mean, I get it. It's a mess. I don't want to say a mess, but it's not. Nebraska's still, this is what, halfway through the season, they don't have a 200-yard passer, and I know that's not necessarily the formula, but they're one-sided.
Well, and they don't have a 100-yard rusher either. Traditionally.
Yeah.
Like that's another way to put it, right?
Yeah.
Other than the quarterback. And so we can do this. The play calling on drives immediately before the half. We talked about at the beginning of the show, Jay. It's turning into a pattern where it just looks like they are unsure of necessarily what they want to do, who they want to go to, who do they want to have the ball in the hands of before half. I found myself sitting there once again after Nebraska allowed a touchdown, 17-7. I found myself going, all right, this is another opportunity for Nebraska, similar to the Minnesota game, to where you can get 2 possessions back-to-back, essentially. Yeah. And Nebraska, once again, we talked about the nail in the coffin. And that was really the first time that we saw it kind of flip a little bit to where Nebraska was kind of coasting and really struggling. That carried over into the second half, was on that drive immediately before halftime. And it's, once again, it just has this feeling of they don't know necessarily what they want to do or where they should go at the drives before half, because we've seen it to where they've tried to take shots, and we've been okay with the shots maybe on first down, but after that it's been really, really questionable play calling decisions. And then they've tried to run it out, but then they almost don't take up enough time. Or they make bad decisions and they run out of bounds, which then stops the clock, saves the timeout for the other team, and they get a field goal out of it. Or tonight, It just, unfortunately, those have hurt Nebraska more times than even helping them. And so tonight, I was surprised, like, hey, at the end of the day, just take it into the half, take it into halftime, run it out, figure out a way just to get first downs. If you get a spark play, if you get a big play that maybe puts you in a position to take a shot or something, then go ahead. But I mean, Illinois should not have gotten a field goal attempt. Illinois should not have gotten a field goal attempt after that drive that Nebraska should have ended the half on.
Let me ask you guys this, and this is something very minute, but I want it at the end of the third quarter, the play clock and the game clock was going down. Nebraska could have just ended the quarter and it would have still been third down. They chose to run a play and obviously didn't get it. Had to punt to start the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a problem with that? I would have rather seen them, call a timeout. I think it was 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 12, 14. Let's put together our best play versus rushing it up there and knowing it wasn't going to work.
I completely agree. There was a moment earlier in the game too where they ran it on 3rd and 8. And I was like, this is something we haven't seen. If it's anywhere longer than 3rd and 5, it's a pass for Nebraska. And they don't necessarily pass it well. And so when they ran at 3rd and 8, Anthony Grant got like 6 or 7 yards on that carry. And I thought, good. That's the kind of mentality that Nebraska is eventually going to need if they want to continue to find success in the Big Ten and establish a running game traditionally, because that's playing, understanding, and knowing, preconceiving that we're going for it on 4th.
Right.
We're going to take this game over as soon as we get our first chance to.
Yeah.
And they did.
Yeah.
And they did in that first half up until maybe towards the closer to halftime we got.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he said it's a defensive team. You can see sometimes them making, again, like that, going for a field goal instead of maybe being aggressive there. I don't have a problem with that. I think that's the type of game that this is. And I think, one thing that he didn't have coming into this job was Big Ten experience outside of his playing days all the way back. So I think that's, something, not necessarily trying to outscore the opponent 49-41 or something like that, understanding who he's playing and what the game was. So I think that was, some good play calling here and there. There's just a lot to clean up in general. Play calling maybe can be part of it. Coaching's always going to be part of it. He stood up for his players after the game, but a lot of offside, just a lot of penalties. 7 for 70 yards, I think.
10 for 70.
10 for 70 yards. And they were playing the most penalized team, or one of the most penalized teams in the country, who had less penalties. So, I mean, I don't know. That's why I'm happy for the win. I think you have to take your first step. They did take their first step. The defense, you hold any team to under 21 yards rushing, much less a Brett Bielema team who've obviously put up a lot more yards than that before on Nebraska defenses. There's a lot to build off of here, but there's not enough for me because they, couldn't finish the game. Not even a field. All they needed was a field goal in any of those final drives to make it, it would still be 16, but it'd be tough to get back in the game for Illinois. And they couldn't even do that. I'm not sure we didn't watch the 2 worst teams in the Big Ten West. That's not to say we did, but that's kind of what it looked like.
Interesting.
So, I think this Northwestern game, I know it's easy to say, well, Northwestern interim coach and traditionally not this. They beat Minnesota. I'm interested to see what that line is going into that game where this Nebraska team basically, this is similar shades, I suppose, a little bit, and I don't want to bring down the Iowa victory, but remember there were a few dropped interception. It was just like, man, these guys don't make it easy on themselves, even when they do get away.
Yeah. Let's go ahead, DJ.
No, yeah, I totally agree. I just think there's a lot to be had, but man, I'm telling you, this bye week is, everybody said this was the make or break kind of deal.
Oh yeah.
Or this game was make or break, to get to the bowl game. I agree with it, but I also say I kind of assumed Nebraska would win, but so I kind of felt confident that they were going to win. I think how this bye week is handled is not only crucial for this year, so it would be a big, deal for this year, but this is also will give you a snapshot into how they'll handle success, how some coaches and players will handle success in the future, because you expect to win more games. So this is something you got to deal with more readily. How you handle your business this bye week. Do you need to go out to every bar because you don't have practice? Or can you be disciplined to get an extra work in, an extra physical therapy session, and obviously extra film session? You can't do that if you're not focused. It's the everyday thing. So that's a big deal for me, man, because that's going to let you know what they're really about.
Well, and that to that point, it's the compounding victories. Again, that's another thing the previous staff couldn't get going. Is any momentum they'd have would be halted the next week, or if it is after a bye. And I did think this game was pretty pivotal because of the Big Ten schedule coming in the next year, and this might be overreaching a bit, but it's going to be hard to go 8-4 going into the future in the Big Ten. So I think if I mean a game like this where you're either going into your bye week 2-4 or 3-3 with a shot to punch it out and try to get to a bowl game, it was huge for Nebraska.
Right.
So I mean I do think this was a big victory, not just for the season but for the program.
Let's hear one more thing from Matt Rhule here on just the team's mindset during the game today.
Yeah, MJ said it before the game. The scoreboard is going to be 0-0 the whole game. Kind of what I said. Like our guys, people might not like me saying this. Our guys, they hear what everyone says about them, and they worry about what people say. I've said it week after week. So it's not like I'm even in wins. And I just kept saying, like, at some point you're going to play in the games the way you play at practice, when there's no fear of what people are going to say or if you make a mistake. And so instead of just worrying about winning, they just want to keep taking the field. They're like, we got this. Let's go. Let's play again. Like RDV, like Sunday night. They just kept saying, like, play like Sunday night, play like Sunday night. So, when I got in a couple times, like, hey, and they're like, we got this. like basically get your ass out of here. And but that was Jamari tonight. That was awesome. That was all those guys tonight. And they can play better, obviously, to give up that one touchdown, but it's pretty good, Big Ten football to hold a team to 7 points on the road, and they're in no huddle the whole game trying to get going. So it was pretty good by us.
It sounds like there's development of player leadership, as according to Matt Rhule, into guys telling him, hey, get out of the huddle. We got
get
this.
to stepping. Jamari Butler's there. He was a little banged up at the beginning, in 2 days.
We can't hear you. I'm sorry. Okay, now we got it. Okay, no, we cannot repeat that word on the air, man. Dude, hey, O Street's wild, man. O Street's wild. Hey, I mean,
that was interesting, but
nice.
I think Jamari Butler is a guy that's kind of been emerging, and so you think, like, how far would Jamari Butler be if they wouldn't have went and got O'Shawn? Because I could argue with you would have got more out of Jamari last year than O'Shawn.
Yeah.
So now they're getting it right. Matt Rhule and staff are reaping the benefits. And so, look, man. I mean, it's real out there. It's really good to see some young guys like him, John Bullock, guys that you just never had normally wouldn't get a chance to play.
Yeah,
you got to think Tony White set the tone. He played like 18 players in that first series in Minnesota. Look, we didn't even mention him, but the guy that really kind of grabbed the momentum back from Illinois was Mekhi Gabert. He came in, first of all, he came out of nowhere, just a special teams guy against Minnesota, end up, playing well, gets in at the jack position, ends up, almost leading the team in tackles at jack. Then with injuries, he moves to inside linebacker. This is his first game. So in a matter of 3 practices, he moves to the inside linebacker position, all from coming from never playing with the previous staff.
Yeah.
So yes, you can get better with a new weight coach, with a new opportunity, but he's significantly better. Then you wonder, did they give him a shot? So, but back to the leadership part, whether it's Gabert, Jamari Butler, John Bullock, you when you get down the stretch, you want players to lead. You want players to hold each other accountable. We talked about the offensive line. You want somebody to step up in there and say, man, enough's enough. We're better than this. And go from there. And then the coaches can kind of sit back and do their thing.
Let's go ahead and take our final timeout. Let's we'll wrap things up.
Chuck Willery.
It's the final timeout. We got
the standing 8 count. That's what you called it.
There you go.
Right now we're in the standing 8 count box. We took a couple body blows, a couple haymakers, but we're gonna raise up.
That's right.
Yeah, like the Undertaker. Rest in peace forever. We're gonna finish the thing out strong. Jay Foreman after game show. I'm gonna grill Bach and Nick just to keep me excited. We're gonna go over position, who should be starting, who shouldn't be starting. We're just going to stir it up a little bit. Ben is over your right shoulder checking this out. But I'm going to go ahead. You guys got 4 or 5 minutes to get your mind right. I'm putting you straight on blast. Jay Foreman after game show. We'll be right back.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman Postgame Show, sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Crecack, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Rico, let's do the final checklist before we head out. We have a lot of people coming to the tailgate today.
I'm ready.
Burgers?
Check.
Chips?
Check.
Icy cold beer?
Check. Except this one.
I'm forgetting something. Wait a second. Where's the Fuhrer's cheese spread?
I can't stop eating it.
Rico,
relax. I always pack extra. It's the biggest hit of the tailgate.
For the best appetizer, party dip, and tailgate snack, load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread today. Found in most local grocery stores.
It takes a great game plan to win a football game each week, and right now, it's time to plan a trip to get a new car at Mullen Motors. Just like on the football field, there's a wall of defense on the way to Mullen Motors. 48th Street is under construction from Layton all the way to Cornhusker Highway. But the lot at Mullen Motors is full of tons of great vehicles to drive home this fall for the ultimate touchdown. Mullen Motors, still open through road construction at 48th and Walker.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Today's agenda includes office meetings this morning, followed by a client lunch, then back to the office for another meeting, and ending the day with a presentation at a client's office. When you are on the go, you need an office phone that goes with you. At Hamilton, our business phone systems make it easy to sync your office phone features to your cell phone for quick and seamless call handling, no matter where you work. If your current office phone can't do this, you need better. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet. O Street Carpet. 1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
This is Bud Seinhorst, President and CEO of LIBA, the Lincoln Independent Business Association. Join us every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket for the LIBA Business Hour, as we discuss local business and highlight those who are thriving in the Lincoln area. It's the LIBA Business Hour, Saturdays from 9 to 10 a.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You don't think about your roof very often, but you should never take it for granted. Roofing Service Company takes every measure to provide you with the highest quality roofing solution. Whether it's a new roof installation, roof repair, or a re-roofing project, their overall goal is to provide you with a pleasant experience and a long-lasting roof. If you have a need for siding or gutters, they're your place too. Visit roofingservicecompany.com for more info today.
So, I just got the State Farm Personal Price Plan on my car insurance. So you told your agent you play the bagpipes for your dog? What? No, I didn't get that personal. My agent just helped me create an affordable price just for me. Okay, let me show you what I've been working on. Hey, Buster.
Call your local State Farm agent Vinny Krekak at 402-474-1173.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
Jay Foreman Postgame Show. Sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Krekak, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Here we go. Jay Foreman post-game show. Got my man Bach to the left, Nick to the right. Bach, I want to ask you this, man.
Yeah.
All right. Coming out of this bye week, what's the most important thing you want to see, or what are the two or three things that you want to see? Maybe not change, but obviously got better. Because I view trying to change an offense and defense as stupidity. So, what would you like to see more of from this team?
Well, I think Matt Rhule's right along, just kind of developing as they go. I mean, this is a developing team. So I think you add more packages. I thought they did a good job. I mean, they got different wide receivers in the game. Maybe that was forced a little bit with the injury to Washington. But, some more crossing routes I thought was nice. Harburg picked up on some of those. The motion with Janarian Bonner to pick up the third down, I believe. So I, just kind of some creativity. I don't mind going. I heard you guys talking about this. I don't mind going 4 wide and running. Spread out the defense, less battles you have to win. So I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say from that game whether it was better called, but I thought it was maybe a little bit better called. And they're adding a little bit to the offense.
I do too. I think even with the Billy Kemp jet sweep, that was kind of like a little wrinkle. They ran kind of like a counter option. They just need to get better at the little fundamentals of all those plays, the timing of it. Remember when Billy Kemp had it, the turf monster almost got him. I just thought the nickname might be on him.
I would never.
Yeah, yes, you would. But
I don't, dude.
Now to you, Nick.
Mistake. Oh yeah. What's up?
Okay, let me ask you. So, Bach, you'll go next. I'll give you a couple minutes to think. I'm gonna put Nick on the spot. 6 games left.
Yeah.
Nebraska needs 3.
Yeah.
Do they get the 6 that they need, and who do they get them from? Who do the 3 wins plus who they get?
I think they do get the 6. I think it's I think you're going to get them against Northwestern. I think you're going to get one against Purdue.
Okay.
And if you don't get it against Michigan State, I think you get it in the last one of the year. I think within the middle there, I think Michigan State's somewhat of a toss-up right now. Because Noah Kim does have the ability to play much better than either one of Nebraska's quarterbacks,
I don't think he's
right?
Starting now, though.
That's right. That's right. Because he had a bad year. Or he had a bad game.
He's in some heat up there. Yeah.
Nonetheless,
Box said he in some heat.
Yeah. So, so is everybody at Michigan State. It seems like.
Yeah.
But no, and then you have Maryland. Like there's a way that Nebraska and once again I said this on the pregame show. Like there's a way that the conversation is entirely different in 3 short weeks or 4 short weeks.
How much? But you have the belief, though. I mean, this game, you watched this game and said,
yes,
that's I think they're getting a 6.
Yeah, because I think Michigan State is just as bad of a team as Illinois. I think East Lansing may be a little bit tougher of a place to play.
See, I think that's the hope, is that the Big Ten West is just as bad as what we saw tonight, and it could be. And so, I mean, I think that's the hope, and that's part of the progression and what you play. You only play who's on your schedule. I'm not completely convinced that those might not be the worst 2 teams in the Big Ten West.
Yeah.
That being said, the defense played really well. I mean, the defense is making big strides, but you can't. You play like that, you're not going to win every game.
Yeah,
we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, we got 40 seconds, my man. Close it out.
Yeah, I think it was a desperation bowl. 2 teams that need to keep their head above water. Obviously, Nebraska did more to do that. So I think that's where you get some of the ugly play from. You're so kind of desperate, you kind of play ugly.
Yep.
And maybe Illinois has lost their way a little bit, but Nebraska's on their way, man. So it's a good positive thing. Huskers roll 3-3 bye week. Northwestern, be ready.
There you go. All right, we out of here.